How's it going, everybody? This is Siri here, and today I want to go over a couple things in game that we have going on. The first thing's going to be the negative harbinger is actually kind of live to where you can see it right now. You can see it starts in 1 day, 20 hours. And in here, we need to use the harbinger characters for chapter 1, which are the vigilante team and the thunderbolts team. Now, on here, you can see it's recommended to be gear tier 20, but looking at this, the rewards honestly don't look it. It looks like they've been moving more towards endgame content for the endgame players, but the rewards haven't been great. That way, the mid-game and early game players aren't really missing out on anything. It's more for gameplay. That way, the endgame players actually have stuff to actually do. Now, if we end up going into the preview, you can kind of see what the nodes look like. There are G20 characters on here. So node 1 or mission 1, you can see the possible rewards. Since this is saying possible, I'm curious if this is just first time run, because we do see there's 100% rewards up here. As far as characters, you can see there's a Black Knight, we see some absolute A-Force, we see Ancient One, Quicksilver, there's a Super Scroll, another Black Knight on here. Now there's no leaderboard as far as you can see. This is kind of like a pocket dimension essentially. For node 2, you can end up seeing on here, there's Peggy Carter, we have Oath, so now the Liberty character. Some interesting characters. Now there's 2 Kahoris on here. That's pretty rough as far as that goes. Mission 3, we have a Green Goblin Classic. We have some Shang-Chi's. We have Nimrod to Sasquatch. And on here we have a Captain Britain. We have another Illuminati member, Hank Pym. We have some Annihilator 3-piece on here. There's 2 more Gladiators, another Hank Pym. The mission 5, we have an Old Man Logan, so it looks like some Mercs for Money characters on here. A Phoenix right there. Here we have some Black Knights. That's 4 Black Knights right off the bat. There's 2 Weavers. Pretty interesting character mixes on here. Here's a Shadow King, Omega Red Phoenix Force, Ares. And for the boss node, there's an Odin on here. Then Green Goblin Classic. Again, the possible rewards for the first time on the nodes aren't looking great. I don't believe we can actually farm the nodes. If we do go to the 100% on here, there's going to be a diamond orb that's on here. So we have purple ISO, more purple ISO, G19 armory fragments, training mats, gold, and here we have some of the regular unique pieces and origin. So there's no G20 on these. We're really not missing out on anything. For the timed run that we end up seeing on here, it's the same thing. So I wouldn't stress if you can't do this. It's just more for content. So we actually have stuff to do in the game, which I'm fine with. If there was G20 on here, and for how difficult these nodes actually are, that would end up hurting a lot of the mid-game players. So it's actually not too great. Now, again, if you end up going in game over here, type in chapter 1 Harbinger, you can see the characters that we have. So we have those Thunderbolts, we have the Vigilante characters. That's basically what we're going to be using in here. Now, there is something else I do want to go over, which are going to end up being some of the intel discussion, because the intel has kind of been polarizing, if you will. But I do want to go over this to say it's actually not as bad as we thought it would end up being. So first, let's go ahead and discuss where we're going to be getting this intel currency. The first spot's going to be the raid season rewards. The new season's going to end up starting tomorrow, so we're going to be able to see what the raid season rewards are going to end up being, to see if it's actually worth it for every 2 weeks. I think they're actually being pretty generous with it, with where we're getting the intel currency right now. Now on May 13th, when the season ends up starting for the Ultimate 16, and we're going to end up having that league and knockouts being added to it as well, which currently we have it to where we get the 100% or 70, whatever the percent is for raids, and the knockouts for raids, they're going to be adding that same thing to war, which if we end up doing the math, right now on 100% difficulty 5, we're getting 4,000 raid completion for the intel. For the spotlight, we have 3,600. And then if you do about 10 nodes in the raid, we're getting 3,000. So daily, we are getting over 10,000 intel currency. That's honestly pretty good. Then we factor in the events from the command center, what they're doing here for the raid season rewards, the knockouts for Cosmic Crucible, war season, then war knockouts and league. And then we have the arena being added on here for May 21st. So realistically, we're getting quite a bit of the raid currency or the intel currency. So I do want to jump back over in game. If we go over to the supply store, this right here, people were saying is pretty trash. I was one of those included, and I'm going to admit I was wrong. This honestly is not bad. If we're getting over 10,000 intel currency just from the raids, we can purchase this once a day at the minimum, and we're still going to have a net profit for the intel currency because of the command center, the events, everything that we have going on in game. I have 273,000. So I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to be purchasing this. This is 20 pieces for 7,200. If we compare this to the arena, if we hit refresh on here, we have 60. So this is 3 times as much for 2,400. Divide this by 3. That's about 800 arena currency for 20 of these. If we end up taking a look at the arena and look at the rewards on here, we are getting 2,500. This is enough for 3 purchases, basically, of the training mats. That's not even factoring in the L3, so that's just strictly L4. And they did end up saying, if we go back over to the blog right here, if we scroll down, the arena orbs are going away, the L4 training modules are going away, but the L3 training is going to be remaining in the arena store. So we're going to still be able to get those L3. So we're still going to have a good source of the training modules in the arena store, which I think is fantastic. Because of how much intel we're getting on a daily basis, I'm going to start right now purchasing 1 time a day of the training orbs until these start going live. Because starting tomorrow, like I said, there's going to be every 2 weeks, we're going to get more intel just from the raids. And then we're going to have it from the knockouts and everything from Cosmic Crucible next week. And then we have the War Season. And that's going to end up being the week after. There's adding a very good bulk of intel over the next couple of weeks. So I'm very happy about that. Now, something else I do want to end up going over is data mines from Boilan. There's some very interesting things on here. The first right here is basically talking about the negative zone. You can see on here, it's recommended gear tier 20, like we were talking about. The rewards don't look like they're worth it. So I wouldn't stress about it. Just kind of do what you can. If this is going to be treated as a pocket dimension, you should be able to get your heals or have a surplus of heals. Just use your vigilante team. I'm pretty sure they're going to be very good at that. Even at the gear tier 19 portion, I don't think you need gear tier 20. You're going to be able to kind of get through it just fine. Now over here, we have a new challenge for Battle World. It looks like they're going to be adding in the Harbinger characters on the global for the Herald missions on here. So I don't think they might end up making the nodes different, because they did end up doing this last time Battle World came around, where they end up adding in Vigilante and the node actually completely changed. So it looks like they're going to be adding in just the Harbinger, so we can use Thunderbolts or Vigilante or Global. I think that's a pretty good change. But because this is on here, that's telling me that Battle World's going to be coming back pretty soon. I would say it's maybe going to be about another week or 2 based on this, because usually it's about the middle or like week 2 or week 3 of the month when it comes back. Hopefully this means that we're going to be getting hopefully another star level on Null. If we can get an extra star to get them to 6 stars, and then next month we get another star level, I think that's going to be a really good quality of life change for us to really get that Null up and running. Then from there, the bonus stuff is bonus stuff for getting the newer mid-game players caught up to the star levels on there. I know Dorky Dad mentioned that, so I don't want to take credit for that, but I definitely agree with what he said on this. Now, this one here is very, very interesting. So here we have Harbinger Week 3. Play raids, collect Harbinger orb fragments, and gather XLs from the Danger Room to earn rewards. Danger Room's not in the game. Now, Boylan's speculating that this Danger Room is probably going to be like the roguelike that they've been talking about. It would end up lining up with it. It is possible that this is just like another pocket dimension, or maybe it's a tower mode, just changed to a different thing. We need to wait and see. I don't want to jump the gun and say, hey, the roguelike's going to end up being called Danger Room. We don't know that. This could end up just being a tower mode that we're talking about on here. Now, for the thing over here, it says tons of mods related to roguelites, game mode. Now, there are mods on it. That's why I said I think it could end up being like a Scourge, Pocket Dimension. It could be something or maybe it's just like what they did with the Temporal Cataclysm. You add mods on there. So I don't want to jump the gun. He thinks it's going to end up being a roguelite. It's definitely possible. I do love the name for Danger Room if that does end up happening. Again, this was from Boyland. I'm not going to take credit for this. I don't take credit for anything I don't end up doing. So big shout out to Boyland for those data mines, because that's actually very exciting for me. Now, the last thing I wanted to discuss is in the command center, they did end up doing a weekend Crucible Flash event. Make sure that you have your Starjammers pulled to offense for doing at least one attack on here. And then you want to make sure that you do your attacks for all 3 days. That's going to end up netting you a very decent amount of intel. So them adding in these flash events, it's very cool. The Harbinger event right here, I've been keeping up on the dailies. I did about 3 days of spending the 1 million gold or more. My weekly portion is done. My monthly portion is done, except for the Songbird and Hyperion. So this currently has me set to 99 on here. So want to get one more point. That's going to get me at 100 Quasar shards. So that puts me about 80 away. So next week, I should hopefully get Quasar unlocked, which means everybody else as well, because of these weekly. We have about 2 days left on the weekly event. We're gonna have a fresh weekly of milestone points. This gets us about 45 plus the dailies. That would end up getting us another 10, 20, 30, 40, about 45. So about 40 shards. That puts us about 150. And then we have the dailies. Yeah, next week, it's possible we might actually have Quasar unlocked. So that's pretty exciting. I want to see how he ends up doing. Which means if he's being unlocked next week or the week after early on, that means that Scourge event's probably going to be coming fairly quick due to the red stars on how we actually get that. So I'm excited for that. So there's some still cool things coming to the game. I know it's been somewhat negative as far as what's been happening in the game. I just wanted to shed some bright light for what we have in the game, how we can really optimize what we currently have. And like I said, this is not as bad as people thought. I'm going to be purchasing this once a day. So as soon as we get the reset, I'm going to be purchasing this. I still have a very good excess of intel. I've strictly been purchasing the mutant pieces for the G20s down here so that we can get my old man Logan done once I end up getting Xavier unlocked. But let me know what you guys think. I'm really excited about Quasar, the intel store, what they've been doing with it. So hopefully you guys have been as well. If you did enjoy this video, please remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of the day.